About a third of people report difficulty saying no to requests they don't want to fulfill, and the rest are lying. People-pleasing is arguably the most widespread self-sabotage strategy on Earth, completely free, socially rewarded, and absolutely devastating at scale. So today I'm going to show you how to run it to its logical conclusion. First, let's establish what we're working with. People-pleasing isn't just being nice. Nice is fine. Nice is normal. People-pleasing is a compulsive pattern where you suppress your own needs, opinions, and boundaries in order to avoid conflict and secure approval. It's the difference between holding a door open and then standing there for 40 minutes because you can't figure out how to leave. Studies link chronic people-pleasing to anxiety, depression, burnout, and resentment. Which makes sense. You're doing everyone else's emotional labor while billing it to yourself. The clinical term is sociotropy. It's a personality orientation centered on approval seeking and fear of rejection. But I prefer to call it what it is: outsourcing your self-worth to strangers. Here's how the speedrun works. Your objective is to shrink yourself down to nothing. No opinions, no limits, no inconvenient needs, until you are a frictionless surface that everyone can walk across comfortably. Time to beat your entire 20s. Let's break down the meta. The cornerstone mechanic of any people-pleasing run is the inability to say no. This is your foundation. Without it, you can't unlock the advanced stages. Someone asks you to help them move on Sunday. You had plans. You had needs. Irrelevant. You say yes. You show up. You carry a couch up 4 flights of stairs while they direct from the bottom. The key psychological driver here is what researchers call the approval loop. You say yes. They seem pleased. You feel temporarily safe. And then the anxiety resets immediately. And now you have to maintain it. You have not solved the problem. You've just rescheduled it. The advanced strat is preemptive yes. Don't wait to be asked. Volunteer. Anticipate what people might want, and offer it before they even think to request it. This way, you can be resentful about things that technically never even happened to you. Once you've locked in the yes habit, you need to eliminate your opinions. This is critical. Opinions create friction. Friction creates discomfort. Discomfort means someone might feel a feeling near you, and that's your fault, apparently. Here's how it works in practice. Someone asks where you want to eat. The correct speedrun response is, I don't mind. But you do mind. You always mind. The goal isn't dinner, though. The goal is to ensure no one is ever mildly inconvenienced by your preferences. Over time, you'll notice something interesting. You actually stop knowing what you want. Not because you don't have preferences, but because you've been overriding them so consistently that your brain stops generating them. You've essentially installed a factory reset on your own personality. The technical term for this is self-silencing. It shows up strongly in people who grew up in environments where expressing needs led to conflict or withdrawal of affection. So if you want to optimize your speedrun, a chaotic childhood is a significant advantage. Now we get into the real high-level play, treating conflict like a natural disaster. The average person experiences conflict as uncomfortable but manageable. The people-pleaser experiences it as a 5-alarm emergency. Someone is slightly annoyed. The house is on fire. Everyone is going to leave. It is over. This leads to apologizing for things you didn't do, laughing at jokes you don't find funny, agreeing with opinions you find genuinely repulsive, and the crown jewel of conflict avoidance, absorbing blame to de-escalate arguments faster. You didn't cause the problem, but you'll confess to it if it ends the conversation. What you're actually doing is teaching people that you will contort yourself to maintain peace, which means the peace is never actually established. It's just postponed. You've created a subscription service for your own discomfort. The science on this is grim. Chronic conflict avoidance is linked to elevated cortisol, suppressed immune function, and ironically, more relationship instability, not less. You avoided the small argument. Congratulations. You've been accumulating a large one for 3 years. Here's where the speedrun gets interesting, because people-pleasing has a final form, and it's not endlessly agreeable, it's furious. The resentment unlock happens when you've been suppressing your own needs long enough that they stop asking nicely. You said yes to something you hated. Again. You absorbed blame for something that wasn't yours. Again. You laughed at a comment that bothered you. Again. Now a completely unrelated thing happens. Someone asks you to pass the salt, and something inside you wants to throw the whole table out the window. This is called emotional exhaustion, and it's the natural endpoint of giving everything away without refilling anything. You started this run as a people pleaser. You've evolved into someone who has said yes so many times that the word has lost all meaning. And now you're sitting at a dinner party, smiling with your face, while your internal monologue is writing a resignation letter to your entire social life. Psychologists call this empathy fatigue. I call it the final boss. Here's the part they don't put in the tutorial. Speedrunning people-pleasing doesn't actually make people like you more. Research on likability consistently shows that people respect those who have clear opinions and enforce boundaries, not those who agree with everything. Agreeableness beyond a certain point reads as weakness, inauthenticity, or desperation. The approval you've been chasing actually retreats the harder you chase it. You erased your personality to become more appealing. The erasure is what makes you less appealing. It's a perfect trap. It's almost elegant. The people-pleasers who are most exhausted are often surrounded by people who barely notice, because a frictionless surface is very easy to walk across without thinking about it. So, to recap the speedrun, say yes to everything. Delete your opinions. Treat conflict like incoming artillery. Build resentment quietly in the background and achieve a complete personality erasure, all while receiving less approval than when you started. Or, and this is controversial, you could just say what you actually think occasionally. Let someone be briefly disappointed. Survive it. Discover, to your absolute horror, that nothing collapsed. The choice is yours. The answer is obvious. You'll probably still choose the speedrun.
Game